here. You can call me Coach Rosie. Hey, so many times when we're talking with our athletes and our clients and the folks that we work with, we're always talking about how does your body stack up and how do those building blocks of your body actually line up, because that's going to be such an important key on how you move and how you function and how your body works. Actually, I have some blocks here today that I borrowed from some of my nephews and nieces that I just wanted to kind of show the example that we're talking about of how the body lines up. We talk about from the ground up. Literally, if I think of this as my body, the ground up, and block 1 is going to be my ankle, block 2 is going to be my knee, then my hips, then my thoracic spine, then my shoulders. If everything's lined up in direct line, everything works pretty good and I'm pretty stable. Even if there's contact and things are going to move around, I'm pretty stable. What happens if there's an injury or I hurt my back or something happens? Well, as we're talking, if all of a sudden something happens and I hurt my back, depending on how bad it is, I can maybe function and work through if that's maybe out of line or my back's out of line or my hip's out of line some way. Thing is, I'm sometimes not very stable. So all of a sudden if I have something start to happen, that block's going to tip over, where if everything's in line, everything's going to be good. And usually our bodies don't function that way. What usually happens with our bodies as we start being able to get in and start to move is, if example gets to be again, if I have something wrong with my hips or my back or whatever, I usually just don't get things to line back up. What I usually start to do is my body starts to get a shift, which in that positioning, so all of a sudden we'll have somebody that maybe sprains an ankle, and all of a sudden their hip, they start having some problems in their hip, or their problem with their hip will lead to their problem with their shoulder. So when we look at what's going on with an individual, we don't just look at the problem area and say, hey man, my shoulder's really been killing me, what do I need to do? We work our way back down from the ground up and say, is it a mobility problem maybe in the knee? And if I can start to correct that knee a little bit, it's going to correct my hip over a little bit, and that's going to maybe take care of that shoulder problem, and then I'm going to be able to carry my head in a better position. And as I can start getting things back into more line, I'm going to be more stable as I start to make contact. So I'm able to function better on a day-to-day basis, do my job better on a day-to-day basis, do fun and activity and without pain, and that's really what we're looking for. It's great to be able to make sure that everything would be lined up perfect, but that's not always the case. So what our job and our goal and what we hope for you to be able to do is make sure we're lined up as best as we can, even if we have some type of an injury, so that I can operate at high levels and live pain-free.